All right, get ready because we're about to jump into the Sunflowerland Marketplace update.
Yeah, that's right. Their digital farmers market where you can trade everything like, carrots and now even it looks like Santa hats.
Yeah, it's super interesting to see how this update, which is detailed out in their official release notes on Sunflowerland's GitHub repository, how it reveals the strategies that the developer is using to keep players engaged and coming back.
Okay, so we're looking at version 2.3.143,
Right.
which, sounds very specific and granular, but I'm guessing these seemingly small changes, they can actually have pretty big effects on the entire game's economy.
Oh, absolutely. Like, for example, they added Christmas 2024 items.
Mm.
So, like, they're already dropping holiday-themed items a whole year in advance. I mean, it's kind of a bold move, don't you think? It might be a sign that they're going to be doing more frequent, maybe even year-round seasonal events. Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, it does keep things fresh and exciting for players, but could it also mean that there's more pressure to constantly chase the next limited-time item?
It's definitely a valid concern, especially when you consider the temporary items, which are also new in this update.
Yeah.
It seems like they're really leaning into the whole psychology of scarcity, which can be a powerful motivator.
Yeah.
But it's a fine line, right, between like encouraging engagement and then, kind of creating this gotta catch 'em all mentality.
For sure, for sure. And what about those players who are like really into the trading side of the game? This update also mentions a market profile. So does this mean that like, are we going to start seeing players become like these Sunflowerland tycoons, like, specializing in rare tulips or cornering the market on gingerbread cookies?
Exactly. That's exactly what it could lead to. I mean, this new feature, it have the potential to like transform the marketplace into a really dynamic ecosystem.
Yeah.
Where players can carve out these little niches, maybe even form trading guilds and compete for dominance. Yeah. I mean, it's like they're adding a whole new layer of strategy to the game.
Oh, this could get really interesting. Like imagine all the bartering and the deal making.
Yeah.
And the potential for some serious market manipulation. It's almost like a real world stock exchange.
Right.
But with sunflowers and shovels.
I love that analogy. And then to make this whole trading frenzy even more enticing, they've gone ahead and added a marketplace reward shop.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So like imagine getting rewards for trading frequently.
Right.
Or maybe for maintaining fair prices.
Yeah.
It's a pretty clever way to keep the marketplace active and buzzing with activity.
So they're like rewarding players for actually being shrewd traders.
Yep.
I can already see people pulling out their spreadsheets and doing all this market analysis to figure out how to maximize their profits.
For sure.
But you know what? As much as I love a good trading challenge, I gotta admit, it can be a little bit of a pain sometimes, having to go all the way back to town just to make a trade.
Well, you're in luck because it looks like the developers heard you. Because this update also makes it so you can access the marketplace from anywhere.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, it might seem like a minor change, but it could really impact the flow of the gameplay,
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, no more having to interrupt your pumpkin harvest to check prices or make a quick trade.
Right.
It just makes the whole experience feel a lot more seamless and integrated.
For sure. And it really shows how much attention to detail the developers are paying. I mean, they even included, get this, a crafting box animation.
Okay, wait, hold on. A crafting box animation. I've got to say, that seems a little bit excessive, don't you think? I mean, do we really need to see like every hammer swing and every nail pounded?
I know what you mean, but hear me out on this one. I mean, while it might seem trivial at first, this kind of visual feedback, it actually can really enhance the player experience.
Okay.
It's all about immersion.
Yeah.
Making players feel more connected to their actions in the game world.
Okay, yeah, I see what you mean. I can see how those little details can add up and really create a more satisfying and engaging experience, especially for players who are like super into the crafting side of Sunflowerland. But hey, what's this about a marketplace intro? Is this like, a tutorial for newbie traders?
Yeah, it's most likely a tutorial. And with all these new features, a well-designed tutorial could be really important, especially for new players, who might be a little overwhelmed by all the complexity of the marketplace. It's kind of like giving them a roadmap to help them navigate this, this bustling new world of digital commerce.
So what you're saying is Sunflowerland is like all in on this marketplace update. They're basically turning it into a central hub for the entire game.
It really seems that way.
Mm.
All of these changes, I think they suggest that the developers are trying to make the game more dynamic and interactive. Like they want to create a world where, the marketplace isn't just some like side feature,
Right.
but it's like an actual important part of the gameplay.
Yeah, for sure. It makes you wonder if this is like good for the long term, the health of the game. Like,
Yeah.
will these changes bring in new players? Or maybe even bring back some players who might have felt like the game was getting a little stale?
Yeah, that's definitely possible. I mean, having rare holiday items and limited time offers, that could definitely attract new players who, maybe they're looking for a challenge. And for veteran players, well, the new marketplace, with the focus on player reputation and rewards, it could be just what they need to get back into the game.
I can see it now, like all these seasoned Sunflower Line veterans coming out of retirement,
Yeah. Yeah.
to reclaim their trading glory.
Yeah, it's like a digital gold rush or something.
Exactly. But let's get back to the actual update itself. What other changes do you think will have a big impact on how players play the game?
Well, remember that feature we were talking about that lets players access the marketplace from anywhere.
Oh, yeah.
It's not just like a convenience thing, It could actually fundamentally change how players use the marketplace.
I see what you mean. So, like, instead of it being this chore, like having to check prices and make trades, it could become a more integrated part of the gameplay, right?
Exactly.
Like, players might be more likely to buy and sell strategically if they don't have to constantly stop what they're doing, like stop their farming just to go trade.
Yeah, exactly. And then when you combine that with the whole market profile and the marketplace reward shop,
Yeah.
you're basically creating a feedback loop
Right.
that encourages players to like actually spend more time in the marketplace.
So they're basically like gamifying the marketplace itself.
Yeah, pretty much. They want to make it more than just a place to buy and sell,
Right.
but like a space where you can compete, strategize, maybe even have some social interaction.
It's really a bold move, but it could pay off big, right? If they can find a way to make it accessible for new players, but also keep it deep enough for veteran players, they might actually create a really unique marketplace.
Yeah, I think the key is making sure that all these new features don't like overshadow the core farming mechanics.
Right.
That's what originally made people love Sunflower Land.
Yeah. It's a tough balancing act for sure.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
You don't want to turn the game into like a stock market simulator and then alienate your core fan base. So what do you think this update will do to the game's economy? Could it cause like inflation or a crash in the price of carrots?
That's a great question. I mean, it's really hard to say for sure, but it's definitely something to keep an eye on.
Yeah.
Adding new items, limited time offers, and a reward system for trading. I mean, it could have some unexpected effects on the in-game economy.
Imagine if players start hoarding gingerbread cookies to drive up prices during the holiday season.
Oh, yeah.
Or like, what if we start seeing a black market for all these, these limited edition items? I mean, it's kind of fascinating, but also maybe a little scary.
It just shows that even in a like virtual world, economics still matter.
Yeah.
Supply and demand, scarcity, competition.
Right.
These things will always shape the Sunflower Land marketplace, just like they shape the real world.
All of this sounds really exciting, but do you think there could be any downsides to focusing so much on the marketplace? I mean, we've already talked about how limited time items could create, that gotta catch 'em all mentality. Are there any other potential problems you can think of?
Yeah, I think one concern could be that the marketplace becomes too dominant, and it overshadows other parts of the game. Like, what if players feel pressured to spend all their time trading just to, to keep up?
Right.
It might take away from the enjoyment of farming and crafting.
That's a good point. It's something the developers need to be aware of.
Yeah.
They need to make sure the marketplace adds to the game, not become the only thing people focus on.
Right. And another thing to think about is how it might affect the community.
Yeah.
If players get too focused on individual gain and market manipulation, it could hurt the cooperative spirit that a lot of online games depend on.
Right, yeah. Sunflower Land has always had a really strong sense of community. Players help each other out. They share tips. They even They even work together on projects. It would be a bummer to see that go away because of, an overly competitive marketplace.
Yeah, I agree. I think the developers need to be careful not to encourage too much cutthroat competition. Because that could come at the expense of collaboration.
Mm-hmm.
They have to find a way to encourage both, individual achievement, but also community spirit.
Sounds like they have a pretty tough job ahead of them.
Yeah.
They got to walk a fine line between having a lively marketplace, but also, keeping those core values that make Sunflowerland so great. It's a lot to think about, that's for sure. But I think that's what makes this update so interesting. It could really change things up in a good way or a bad way. It's almost like a social experiment, but in the world of Sunflowerland.
Yeah, that's a really good way to put it. It'll be interesting to see how players react to these changes. Will they just go all in on competition?
Right.
Or will they find ways to work together and make this new system work for them?
I guess we'll just have to wait and see what happens. But one thing's for sure, this marketplace update shows that Sunflowerland isn't afraid to try new things.
Oh, yeah.
Like, they're really trying to push the limits of what a farming game can be.
And that's what makes it so cool.
Yeah.
We're not just talking about, a little update here.
Right.
This could be a huge turning point for the game. It's a big gamble that could either be a massive success or a total flop.
It's like they're planting a seed and we're all just waiting to see what kind of fruit it'll grow, Will it be a delicious, juicy success? Or will it be, a sour disappointment?
I think it all comes down to how the developers take care of this seed. How they respond to what players are saying, how they adjust things as the marketplace changes. It's a process.
Yeah.
And we're really just at the beginning.
Yeah, and I'm excited to see where it goes from here. I can already imagine players making deals, forming teams, and maybe even protesting against unfair gingerbread cookie prices.
It just goes to show games are more than just, games. They can be reflections of our own society. Our economic systems, our ability to work together and compete against each other.
It's definitely a lot to think about, but that's what I love about these deep dives. We're not just, scratching the surface.
Right.
We're really trying to dig deep into the code, the psychology, and the potential impact of these changes, even if they seem small.
And hopefully we're leaving you, our listener, with more questions than answers.
Yeah.
Because the coolest discoveries are the ones you make yourself.
Absolutely. So if you're a Sunflowerland player, or even if you're just interested in the world of online gaming, you should really take a look at this update. Explore it. See what you think.
Pay attention to how players are acting, how the market is changing, what new strategies people are coming up with. You might even learn a thing or two about economics along the way.
And who knows, maybe you'll even become the next Sunflowerland tycoon, Cornering the market on virtual pumpkins and building your own digital empire, one carrot at a time.
Remember, every trade you make, every deal you strike, every seed you plant, it all adds to this, ever-changing world of Sunflowerland. So get out there, explore, experiment, and see what you can grow.
Well, that's all the time we have for our deep dive into the Sunflowerland Marketplace update. Thanks for joining us. We'd love to hear your thoughts and predictions for what's next for Sunflowerland. Until next time, happy farming.